President, where he will be addressing the nation. The Minister of Information is here, Language in Gambia, and the Press Secretary, the boy earlier, so Quebec is also here. And we have a representative groupings of media institutions in LIBERIA. The Minister of Information is going to a little bit closer to me.
Social distancing.
I know. We told the Liberian people that the President will be addressing the nation at 1 o'clock. They stay tense.
Yes, Mr. President will soon be coming into his office to make the address. And perhaps I should use this opportunity to say to the people of Liberia that though we have scheduled previously for 12 p.m., 12 midday, 12 noon, the President is dealing with a lot of issues, which includes the daily briefings that he gets from the health team, and then his coordination meeting with our partners. So that went a little bit beyond the usual time frame. So we had to postpone the address to 1 p.m. And we are very close to 1 p.m. Mr. President will soon be walking in to come and deliver his engagement with the people of Liberia. I call it an engagement because since the beginning of this crisis, Mr. President has been engaged in many, many ways with the people of Liberia, and he has shown the leadership necessary for the fight against this deadly virus. A marathon of meetings between partners and ourselves, with the health team, led by Dr. Jara and Dr. Sukafala, Dr. Cartier, Dr. Manneh, Dr. Brown, the administrator of the TFK, Mrs. Kufa, they've all been engaged, the medical team with the President on a daily basis. Now that he has appointed Madam Brown and Madam Finabono to address some of the deficits we have in coordinating the logistic efforts and the efforts to ensure that the medical team will have all that they require. So he has come now to speak to the nation to get the support, rally the support of the country, so that we can make this final push for us to defeat this virus, to break the chain. This coronavirus is very deadly. It has decimated the economy of big nations, the health systems. It has caused the entire world to crumble and come to its needs. So Mr. President will be speaking. I cannot preempt the details of the speech.
Mr. Minister, there have been a lot of speculations these few days about lockdown, curfew. You think the President's address will take care of some of those things?
Well, this will be a very comprehensive address that will deal with all of the issues around the fight against this deadly disease. So I cannot preempt what Mr. President is going to say. What I can tell you is that he has been very engaged, and this speech today will be to rally the people of Liberia to support any new measures that are required for us to finally defeat this virus.
There have been some misunderstanding about the appointment of
there should be no misunderstanding. There should absolutely be no misunderstanding because Mirabeau is not yet to head the health team. We have an incident management system headed by Dr. Chala and Dr. Fala, Dr. Carter. They are leading the medical effort, but there is a logistical support that is required. So she, along with Finabono, will address that deficit, coordinate, and this is all part of the fight for us to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. The President, His Excellency, Manneh Weah, at the end of this conference hall, where he will be addressing the nation. We'd like to welcome all of our listeners, over radio and television and Facebook. We're here ready, so we now go to studio for the national anthem. From there, the President will speak.
fellow citizens, and foreign residents, we are all witnessing the devastation caused by the coronavirus pandemic around the world. Hundreds of thousands of persons around the globe have been infected by it. Thousands have died as a result of contracting it, and many more thousands are predicted to die. The disease has overwhelmed more advanced health care systems in many countries and has brought the economies of several developed nations among to be a complete halt. The sad reality of millions of victims and thousands of deaths around the world should give all of us cause to pause and think about what we must do collectively to protect ourselves from this dreadful pestilence. The horrific scenarios that are beginning to emerge should serve as sufficient warning for every one of us to spring into action. The government of Liberia continues to work with determination, diligence, and focus to combat this deadly COVID-19 disease. You will recall that the Special Presidential Advisory Committee on Coronavirus, the SPACO, was established 2 months ago under my leadership as soon as it was perceived that the disease was likely to develop into a global pandemic of epic proportions that could possibly affect the country. As chairman of SPACO, I have personally presided over many strategy and operational meetings with the aim and objective of coordinating the fight against the corona disease in Liberia. I have also instituted the Executive Committee on Coronavirus, ECOC, as the operational arm of SPACO that will focus on community initiatives and outreach. As head of both committees, I am directly involved with the day-to-day activities with our health experts, members of the cabinet, and our international partners in order to help mitigate the spread of the virus. At the same time, explore ways and means to help ease some of the economic challenges that this virus will cause to our country and people. Fellow Liberians, although our health teams are working assiduously to complete the testing of scores of contacts, we have to recognize that the COVID-19 virus has now entered a new phase in our country as we move from protection to containment. The dynamics of our management of the disease have been significantly changed, and there will be required much stronger additional measures to delay the spreading of this highly infectious virus and keep our public safe. Fellow citizens, the global pandemic is killing thousands of people around the world. It knows no borders, and there is yet no vaccination or cure. The global spread of this virus represents the greatest threat to the health and well-being of the people of Liberia since the Ebola epidemic suffered by our country from 2014 to 2016. It has already arrived in Liberia, and confirmed cases are now on the rise. Therefore, by the authority granted to mean under Article 85, 86, 87, and 88 of the Liberian Constitution, and after due consultation with the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the President pro tempore of the Liberian Senate, as required by law, I, George Manneh Weah, President of the Republic of Liberia, hereby declare a state of emergency to exist in and throughout the Republic of Liberia for a period of 3 weeks, renewable until the threat to Liberia from the COVID-19 virus no longer exists. My fellow Liberians, as a first step under the powers hereby granted me under this state of emergency, the Speaker and the President pro tempore are to convene the 54th Legislature in joint session on tomorrow, Thursday, the 9th of April, 2020, for justification and endorsement of this state of emergency by joint resolution in accordance with the Article 88 of the Liberian Constitution. I further announce under this state of emergency that all 15 counties in the Republic of Liberia are hereby quarantined from 11:59 p.m. on Friday, March 10, 2020, until further notice. Movements between counties are strictly prohibited. No person shall be permitted to enter or leave or in any way across the borders of any county into another county, except for Mosserado County and Manneh County, which are quarantined as a single unit. As a further measure under this state of emergency, all Liberians and residents within the borders of Mosserado County, Manneh County, Nima County, and Grand Cru are to stay at home for the next 14 days beginning at 11:59 p.m. on Friday, March 10, 2020. Throughout this period, residents may leave home only for essential journeys for reason of health and food, which should be restricted to your local community only and be limited to a single person per household for a maximum of 1 hour. Exceptions shall be made for persons who are designated as essential staff in government offices, banks, supermarkets, and other business establishments, as a hotel, petrol station, and health facility, to travel directly to work and return directly home. All such commercial activities are to be closed no later than 3 p.m. All non-essential businesses and government offices will remain closed, with the exception of essential businesses, health facility, and a few key government offices, such as the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Central Bank of Liberia, the National Port Authority, the Liberia Revenue Authority, the Monrovia City Corporation, and the Liberia Broadcasting System, and accredited media, where only a skeleton staff will be given passes to work. Our government offices may be designated and exempt based on the essential nature of their function. Meanwhile, no exempt government employees and people in the private sector are encouraged to work from home. Also exempted from these restrictions are the production, distribution, and marketing of food, beverages, pharmaceuticals, and medicine, environmental and sanitation activities, members of the security forces assigned to lawful duties, essential staff of electricity, water, telecommunication, banking, and hotels, and the staff of fuel stations. The Ministry of Internal Affairs is hereby instructed to engage the leaders of the various marketing associations in counties under the stay-at-home order to make satisfactory arrangements about the operations of markets during this period, so as to ensure the observance of social distance and enhance hygiene protocols. In all other counties not under this stay-at-home order, residents are to stay within their respective local communities until otherwise ordered. I have ordered the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia and the Chairman of the National Joint Security to enforce this stay-home policy beginning as of the effective date. Further measures will be imposed from time to time under this state of emergency. Fellow Liberians, I want to encourage Liberians and foreign residents to abide by these measures even under the most difficult circumstances. We have to ask ourselves why we should abide by these measures. The answer is simple: to save lives. Remember, the life you save may be your own or mine. We should all learn from the experience of Ebola. We all will have to give up certain freedom for the time being until we can get through this. That is why we have found it necessary to declare this state of emergency. I say to you, fellow citizens, stay at home and be safe. Fellow Liberians, let me now take this opportunity to give thanks and appreciation to our brave health workers, including doctors and nurses, and all other personnel involved in the fight against this deadly disease. Your courage, your dedication, and your professionalism inspire us all. In this regard, I would like to call on all retired health workers in Liberia to join hands with your counterparts to reinforce our capabilities and strength to fight the COVID-19 with your vast experience and expertise. We need all hands on deck at this time. I ask everyone to get on board and abide by the health measures and protocols that have been introduced. The enemy today is the virus, not each other. In the meantime, I would like to call upon all our political and religious leaders, social media groups, students, teachers, civil society, and the general citizenry to join us in this fight against Corona. We are all in this together as Liberians, regardless of your political affiliation or religion. We must therefore come together as one people at this critical time of peril for our nation. Let us use our time, talents, and social media platforms to educate our people on the basic hygiene and social distance practices that can keep them safe, and to encourage them to abide by the laws and regulations. We can defeat this virus if we all commit ourselves to respecting all the measures that have been outlined. If we are undisciplined, we will be the cause for it to spread. But if we have properly and observe all regulations and health measures, we can also be the cure that will stop corona in our country. As I close, I ask the Almighty God to save our country, Liberia, and the rest of the world from this deadly coronavirus. My fellow citizens, let us all rise and stand together to fight corona. Let us do it for ourselves, for our children, and our country, Mama Liberia. I thank you. Okay. Hello?